So I want to start out with a little bit of levity because it's so delicious that it has to be talked about first. The editor-in-chief of The Economist, I think, made the big mistake of thinking she was interviewing Tucker Carlson. What ended up happening is Tucker Carlson basically turning it around and putting her on the mat and then delivering one bouncer after another at her head. And he really challenged her on a couple of things. One was immediately challenged her when she right away asked him if he thought Israel had the right to exist, and then told him he was a Zionist if, in fact, he agreed with her. And he basically demanded that she define the term, does Israel have the right to exist, and why that was exclusively used for Israel as opposed to Lebanon or any other nation state or any other peoples. And she kept on trying to press him on that, and he kept on, like I said, delivering one bouncer after another. And he basically indicted the Economist's position on the genocide in Gaza. And that's what the interview kind of devolved into, with putting the Economist on the mat. So I encourage everybody to watch that interview. It's quite interesting to have Tucker Carlson, who has definitely been one of the most loathsome personalities in the United States, take on the genocide deniers, and those hurling around, the anti-Semitism tropes all over the place. Unfortunately, when they do that, they actually make sure that we all take our eye off the ball of where the real anti-Semitism is happening. So there is that. Secondly, what I want to talk about is what is happening with Pakistan. It seems that both the Saudis and the Iranians are subtly or not so subtly pressuring Pakistan. There was a Saudi analyst on the Canadian broadcasting who was interviewed, and for some reason I cannot find his name, but he is insisting that the Saudis are under Pakistan's nuclear umbrella. So he's going there. He's actually saying that there is a defense pact and Pakistan has provided a nuclear umbrella over Saudi Arabia. Not so subtle message to Pakistan. Then on the Iran side, they're trying to give a message to Pakistan through a lot of love, I would say, allowing Pakistani oil tankers to get through the Strait of Hormuz unscathed. And Mujtaba Khamenei's son and successor, has apparently recorded a message that says Pakistan was Ayatollah Khamenei's most beloved country. Okay? There's a bit of a contentious relationship between Iran and Pakistan over the years because of Pakistan's deep alignment with the United States over many, many years, and what that meant for Iran. But Pakistan also happens to have one of the largest Shia populations in the world, with about 35% or so of Pakistan's population being Shia. So I would not be surprised if Mujtaba is delivering a message to Pakistan. But Pakistan seems to be kind of caught between the Saudis and the Iranians, and they're each in their turn delivering these messages. Oh, by the way, the Saudi analyst also provided a lot of cover for MBS by saying that although Iran is the most malevolent actor in the region and fostering all these militias, etc., we did not agree with the United States aggression against Iran, which is a strange cover that was provided, and it's really who is calling the kettle black at this stage. It's just quite something. We all know what Saudi Arabia's history has been in fostering a lot of very extremist elements all over the Muslim world and creating the hell that many Muslim countries actually went through internally. So there is that kind of tension going on, and again, Pakistan having to thread the needle very, very carefully in between these two countries. Donald Trump is having a very normal day, it seems. He has now threatened that ICE agents will be doing security at US airports if the Democrats do not pass the election restricting measure called the SAVE Act, and also if they do not fund DHS. And so he's threatening that ICE agents will provide the security instead of the TSA, and therefore they'll be held to pay, and for sure they will cause the most havoc for Somali Americans. No wonder Somalis are Muslim and they're black and so on and so forth. Again, he's having such a normal one that he's actually threatening Europe and NATO again, that because they're such cowards and they did not help him open the Strait of Hormuz, that he is threatening Greenland again. So I think Donald Trump is in full-on spiral mode, which makes him 10x more dangerous. Then for the second time, I have seen some reporting that is also pretty amazing. Apparently, there is an Omani analyst who has spoken to BBC Arabic, and he is saying that Trump is actually extorting the GCC countries. And he is saying that if you want America to continue the war, which is being rumored that the GCC countries are actually telling Trump to not stop the war because Iran will be twice as dangerous to them if the war stops at this point. So this Omani gentleman analyst is saying that, and his name is Salem Al-Jahuri, and he says on BBC Arabic that the GCC countries are being told by Trump, if you want me to continue, you will have to contribute $5 trillion and to continue this war. And if you want me to stop, you will have to give us $2.5 trillion. So the fact that this guy is on BBC Arabic saying this, and this is like the second time I'm seeing this piece of news, this is what is happening. And as we all know, the Trump family has been involved in massive grift from the GCC countries prior to the Iran war. So Qatar, lavished Trump with a $400 million plane. Jared Kushner is being feted by MBS. He already had been given $2 billion after Donald Trump, during the last days of Donald Trump's first term, for his affinity of private equity. And now Jared Kushner is demanding another $5 billion from the same investors. So the grift is going on and on and on in many, many different levels. But yes, Donald Trump and his family are having a very, very normal day, it seems, on Saturday from his golf course. But for the GCC countries, I'd have to say the return on investment doesn't seem so good, given that their energy facilities are being bombed, get that foreigners who we call expats are fleeing. The UAE is now starting to see real real softening on their real estate sector. And going back to real estate, one has to go back to the Pakistan question for a second. And it just occurred to me that Donald Trump, being a real estate mogul, and Witkoff and Jared Kushner being real estate moguls, that they look at Pakistan from a real estate perspective, right? It's all location, location, location. So if you just look at the map and see what are all the borders of Pakistan, it would make sense why Donald Trump would want to cozy up to Pakistan. So that said, moving on, we all might have seen and maybe laughed out loud yesterday when Treasury Secretary Bessent, him of the Pink House, put out a memo from the Treasury lifting the sanctions on 14 billion worth of oil from Iran that is already in transit. That is right, you heard correctly. The US has lifted sanctions on $14 billion worth of oil from Iran, which means that the US will be able to purchase Iranian oil that is already in transit. So the sanctions that have been in place since 1979 have been lifted on $14 billion worth of Iranian oil. Sanctions lifting that Iran has not asked for. Okay? Iran has not asked for this, but the US, in its infinite wisdom and its ability to do own goals, says it is lifting these sanctions to allow Iran to sell $14 billion worth of oil so Iranian sales will attack Iranian sales, is what Bessent is saying. Because when Iran does sell this $14 billion worth of oil prices will fall and therefore Iran will be damaged. So Iran really won't, net Iran won't really earn anything because Iranian oil will be used against Iranian oil. This is what the Treasury Secretary of the United States is saying. So I don't want to dwell on this too much except to say, are you effing kidding me? Which is what the entire world is saying. The foreign minister of Iran has said, we didn't ask for these sanctions to be lifted, but you do you, basically. And he's saying, Iran, sorry folks, Iran does not have any surplus crude to sell into the market. So there is that. So in case you think that we're going to be putting out more oil in order to reduce the prices, sorry, we're not. But you do you. So there is that level of, I don't even know what to call it, but at this point one can only laugh out loud at this stupidity. Yesterday, or late last night it seems, Iran was able to launch missiles towards Diego Garcia. So the Brits are all aflutter, all very, very upset and saying, how dare you? How dare you do that? Because it is wrong. It is so wrong. After joining the Israel-US war on Iran, Britain is upset that Iran is exercising Article 51. Diego Garcia bases are being used to launch attacks on Iran. So Iran already has said that Britain has joined the war. But Britain is really, really upset that Iran is exercising Article 51 and launching missiles. But what is frightening them, or what they're trying to gin up as a pretext perhaps for NATO to get involved? Because that's what I think it is. It's ginning up that, oh heavens, Iran has long-range capabilities that we did not know how long-range they were. And now they've got their sights on Paris and London and European targets that we didn't even know they could reach. Okay, all right, there is that layup happening. The Guardian is basically writing a longish article today about the effect of the Iran war on the world, something I mentioned yesterday, but they've sort of gone through the examples of some countries, and it really is becoming a worldwide calamity. So India is finding it hard to provide gas to its people, so people are hoarding gas. There are long queues looking for gas. Restaurants are closing in India. And those that are remaining open are being told to take those things off the menu that require long cooking periods. So, take that off the menu. Thailand is suffering from a loss of tourism. Hotels are not being booked. Spas are not being booked. Tours are not being booked. That is happening. Sri Lanka has gone back to issuing QR codes for gas. People filling up their tanks. There is that. Various countries are doing various measures to try to get through this very difficult period as inflation spikes all over the world. Japan is having a problem not being able to provide crispy potatoes, apparently, to their population, which apparently happens to be a real rage in Japan, and people are really upset that their crispy potatoes are not available on demand. And but fear not, Japan is being allowed to get through the Strait of Hormuz unmolested. The Japanese have spoken to the Iranians, and the Japanese will be able to move through the Strait of Hormuz, and the Japanese will be able to get their crispy potatoes, it seems. 3,000 cargo ships are stuck. 3,000. I don't know how many seafarers are on each ship, but that's how many are stuck. And it's not just oil, as I was saying, it is fertilizer, it is wood chips, it is a host of products that will bring many industries to a grinding halt. But once again, you can't overemphasize the importance of fertilizer to the world. So, again, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh will be the most affected if they cannot get the supply of fertilizer for their planting season, which starts in June. So that is a really serious issue. Once again, the war drums are beating louder and louder. There doesn't seem to be a de-escalation. Thousands and thousands of troops are on their way towards Iran. We don't know what that means. We don't know, when Donald Trump is planning to invade Iran. But at this point, I have to say, being an American, I feel absolutely petrified for young American men and women who are being forced to go into Iran and themselves providing some sort of human wave attacks on Iran and being sent to Iran by a bunch of maniacs and complete madmen who have no regard for the lives of young Americans and certainly no regard for the lives of Iranians or Lebanese or Gazans, but no regard for the lives of young Americans who are being made cannon fodder at this point. That is frightening to the world, that these people in power in America could give a damn about their own service members. So why would we ever expect them to give a damn about Iranian children or Lebanese children or Gazan children? We simply should never expect them to give a damn. So that is sort of a roundup of at least the trends I'm seeing this morning. Some are outright gobsmacking. I don't know what other word to use, but like I said, Donald Trump is having a real normal one today, and let us see what. Every time he goes to Mar-a-Lago, he seems to do something really abhorrent. So we can expect something abhorrent to happen this weekend as well. That said, I want to thank everyone again who stops by to listen to my musings and my opinions. And I'm getting a lot of messages from a lot of people all over the world who are appreciating what is being said. And I thank you very much for this. And I am just really grateful that you're listening. And I'm really happy that I can give voice to what many of you are saying that you're feeling and you're not hearing in other platforms. But there are a lot of platforms out there, so there are a lot of voices being raised. And I would again encourage everyone to raise your own voices. All it really takes is an iPhone and Facebook, and just do it. I would say just do it. Some of you have asked about YouTube, and yes, so what I do is I post every day's video on Facebook, and right after that, I make a YouTube of the exact same video, and it sometimes has a different title because of the way YouTube is set up, but definitely the exact same video will appear shortly on YouTube as well. So you can go to my YouTube channel at your leisure and look at all the videos that are there. They're exactly the same ones as the ones, but literally I post one on Facebook and I post the same one on YouTube as soon as I can upload it, so you can watch it wherever is most convenient for you to watch. And I will post the link of the YouTube channel either on top or in the comment section, wherever I can figure out how best to post the link. So again, thank you very much for all of you who are commenting and sending me messages about what you're thinking and some of the ideas that you're throwing my way, and I will make sure to give each one of them the due regard that they deserve. So see you again soon, and again, thank you very much for stopping by.